Hey everyone, this is your Sharp Squares podcast for week 11 of the NFL season 2024-25 with Greg Roth, the ambassador David Eby. I am Eric Glazer. Last week, the Sharps in aggregate were in measly 40.7%. For the season, they are 42.5%. Only 5 Sharps last week were over 500. They were Steve Fezzik, Scott Seidenberg from the Dream Preview, Marco D'Angelo from Bet On It, Stuckey from the Action Network, and David Behrman, who follows Greg Roth on X. Everyone else was 500 or below, but we're going to stick with it. We're going to stick with it because we're going to bounce back eventually. And to give you all of the critical information for this week, the best picks that we put into a segment called Gold, Silver, Bronze, is everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Thank you so much, Eric. Hello, Dave. Tonight we have 6 medal games. 6 medal games. I think it's going to be a good week, guys. I think we're finally ready to reverse the curse. Was there a curse? There might have been. We should look into that because the aggregate track record over the last 4 years has been much better than the first 10 weeks. So I think it's anecdotal. I think it's going to turn around. There are 6 medal games. 3 of them are gold. 2 of them are silver. And 1 of them is bronze.
I'm going to go rally hat. I'm going to go rally hat if you're watching on video. Go ahead.
Rally hats help. It can't hurt. The top-rated game, the picks, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a home dog, plus 3.5. Divisional game, welcoming the Baltimore Ravens. Scott Seidenberg, Kelly Stewart, Ross Tucker, the Favorites Podcast, Mike Lombardi, and Todd Wishnev. Is that right, Dave? Wishnev. I've been getting that wrong. Sorry, Todd. All picked Pittsburgh. There was dissent on the Ravens from Adam Chernoff. The second goal game, the pick. The Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs. Wait, are they 9-0 or 10-0? I think they're 9-0.
I don't know.
They almost lost a few of those games. Man, they've won in exciting fashion all season long. They're underdogs. I'm sure there's a trend we might hear about that with Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Plus 2.5 in Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Favorites Podcast, the Covers Podcast, Mackenzie Rivers, Rob Pizzola, Tommy the Hitman, Fabian Summer, and Adam Chernoff all picked Kansas City. Nobody picked Buffalo. The third gold game. The picks, the Cleveland Browns. They're plus 0.5 point in DraftKings. They're in New Orleans to take on the Saints. Scott Seidenberg, Marco D'Angelo, Stuckey, Tommy the Hitman, Fabian Summer, and Adam Chernoff all picked Cleveland. Gil Alexander did take the Saints. 2 silver games, the top-rated silver game. The picks, the Seattle Seahawks. They're plus 6.5, traveling south to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. RJ Bell, Stuckey, and Mike Lombardi all picked Seattle. Nobody took the 49ers. The second silver game, the pick, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They're getting 1.5 in LA to take on the Chargers. Mackenzie Rivers, Scott Seidenberg, Chris Raybon, and Adam Chernoff all picked the Bengals. Marco D'Angelo is on the Chargers. 1 bronze game. Of course, it wouldn't be complete, the gold, silver, bronze segment, without having this team picked. It's only bronze this week. The picks, the Indianapolis Colts. They're plus 3.5, welcoming Anthony Richardson back into the starting lineup, by the way. That should be fun to watch on Sunday. And they have a great opponent. They're in New York to take on the Jets. That'll be an exciting game. Eric, I'll be texting you in the first quarter of that game, probably late first quarter, early second quarter, complaining and wondering why I'm watching that game. Ross Tucker, you're right, I'm not going to watch it. Ross Tucker, Chris Raybon, Tommy the Hitman, and Fabian Summer all took Indianapolis. Nobody, rightfully so, picked the Jets. So The Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns are gold. The Seahawks and Bengals are silver, and the Colts are bronze. So the picks, gentlemen, are easy. Pick 5. We got 3 gold games, 2 silver games in DraftKings. Steelers plus 3.5, Chiefs plus 2.5, Browns plus 0.5, Seahawks plus 6.5, Bengals plus 1.5. Those are your pick 5 picks. And 3, 2, 1, little variation. Browns, which was a gold game, we're getting plus 1.5 and 3, 2, 1. That shoots them up to the top rated game in 3, 2, 1. The Chiefs, we actually lose a point there, but they stay in the second place position in 3, 2, 1. They're plus 1.5 in that pool. And the Steelers drop out of the top 3 because we're only getting 3 and 3, 2, 1 versus plus 3.5 in pick 5. So the Seahawks are now the 1-point game at plus 6.5. So again, 3 points Browns, 2 points Chiefs, 1 point Seahawks.
If that's all you're looking for, you're now all dismissed. If you want to stick around, we've got some brief handicapping highlights to make your weekend a little bit easier. From the Action Network and Stuckey, and Greg set us up for this earlier, since John Harbaugh got to Baltimore in 2008, favorites of 3 or more in Ravens-Steelers games are 2-18-3 against the spread. That's 10%. And thankfully, we're on the right side of that. Harbaugh himself is 0-10-2 ATS when favored by at least a field goal. Versus the Steelers, these games just find ways to be close. 26 of the 32 regular season games decided by 1 possession, over half by a field goal or less. The average score, 19.6 to 19.2. Great job from the Action Network there. From Bet Labs, Patrick Mahomes against the spread as an underdog, 12-1-1 ATS. The Steelers, this is a different trend, are 26-3 ATS as home dogs in the Tomlin era. God, how could they lose, Greg? It's automatic, right?
77%.
Double-digit favorites are 4-0 ATS this season while covering the spread on an average of by 14 points per game. Let me repeat that, folks. If you are a double-digit favorite, 4-0 this season, not a huge sample size, but you're covering the spread by over 14, on an average by 14 points per game. The Lions minus 13 versus the Jaguars. 3 last trends, compliments of Bet Labs. You can follow them at bet_labs on X.
All right, let's take a look at the Ravens at the Steelers. The line is, and our pick is, Steelers plus 3.5. The theme seems like these games always come down to a field goal, so always take the underdog with the hook. Handicap synopsis: Mike Tomlin and the Steelers dominate Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh in the underdog role, as we heard just a little bit from Eric. From the Dream Preview, Scott Seidenberg says Tomlin against Lamar Jackson is 4-0 against the spread and 3-1 straight up as an underdog. Pittsburgh has held Lamar to just 4 touchdown passes versus 7 interceptions, 0 rushing touchdowns in those 4 starts. Tomlin, just versus Harbaugh in general, is 12-3-2 ATS as an underdog when the line is 3 or more. And Tomlin is 10-1-2 ATS as a dog versus Harbaugh and the Ravens with a 3.3 point cover margin. From the favorites, Simon says this is the bet of the week. Steelers plus 3, not 3.5. Says the Ravens D is not good and Steelers should be able to slow the Ravens down and score themselves. Simon Hunter said Russell Wilson is playing well and Tomlin as a home dog is a, quote, no-brainer. Finally, Michael Lombardi from the GM Shuffle says, since Harbaugh joined the Ravens in 2008, the favorites of 3 or more are 2-18-3 against the spread. That sounds kind of familiar. And Harbaugh as a 3 or more favorite against Pittsburgh is 0-10-2 against the spread. Timestamps, Dream Preview 43-46. The favorites 14-40, GM Shuffle 41-57, and Even Money 17-06.
All right, we're keeping it short and sweet this week. It's going to bring us good luck. I don't think I need to remind anyone that none of us here are truly sharp, but this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.